Yo, what is up everybody, and welcome to a brand new video. Today we're going to be talking about the YETI 100. Now, I do apologize, this video has been took way too freaking long to put out. I ran this race about 4 months ago. And I'm using this fitness from this race and leading into my training for the C&O Canal 100 miler that's coming up in about 2 months. So a lot of this information is actually going to be directly put into this next 100 miler in 2 months, and hopefully that video won't take 4 freaking months to put out. But let's jump right into it. Leading into the YETI 100, I was able to get in really good freaking training. So I was hitting at least 80 to 100 mile weeks. And it was even better because the YETI 100 is an extremely flat course. And it's all on the Creeper Trail here in Virginia. So it's very flat and it's a very nice trail. There's no technical trails, there's no big climbs or anything like that. So I could really focus on the things that I need to focus on in my running, and that's cadence, posture, form, and speed. So I was really just hammering that down on the treadmill, almost like 50 to 60% of my runs were on the treadmill. And then I would go outside and make sure that that posture and that fitness and stuff would be locked in my training. And now as we're going into this next 100 miler, once again, the C&O Canal 100 here in Maryland, I'm taking that same format and just pushing it into this next 100 miler. So got really good training in, and my stress levels. So for the past 2 years, I was living in Virginia and things were going freaking crazy. There was a lot of stress in my life, just personal stuff and job stuff and all that jazz. And when you're stressed, man, training and your body does not absorb well. So this was the first time I was able to kind of like take a breath, really focus on training and not be so freaking stressed out. So this might not be one of the best races or best executed races, but man, did it feel good just being able to go out there and just romp on the trails, romp in some training without all that crazy swirl of stress. If you are an ultra marathon runner and you have a regular job and a family and stuff like that, one of my biggest recommendations is really focus on mitigating as much stress in your life as possible, because that stress just absolutely kills your gains. So 100%, man, if you need to take gummies, you need to go and do some meditation. If running is your meditation, man, try to do that as much as possible, because the most amount of stress that you can take out of your life, the better it is for every single facet of your life. But enough of that talk, let's jump right into the clips and I'll jump back in when we need to fill in some information. It's already around 7:45, so I have to start getting some sleep. The YETI 100 starts at 7 a.m. instead of 4 a.m., which is freaking awesome. So I can kind of push it a little bit later and still get a good amount of sleep. But I just got done driving about 6 hours, so I have to stretch out these freaking legs because they're all tight. I'm gonna go on the treadmill, keep it nice and simple, probably only do like 3 miles and some strides, eat some food. I got some McDonald's. I know it's probably not the best thing, but it doesn't make my stomach go crazy, and it doesn't make my like bowel movements insane. So just stayed with something simple, quick, and easy. And then we're gonna start getting ready for the YETI 100 tomorrow. So I'll probably not check in much before tomorrow. Try to keep this nice and condensed, but got everything ready. I got all the swag. I'll show you that probably after we complete, because I don't like to show swag off until I actually get the race done. And then I dropped off my drop bags and I checked in with the run. So I'm all checked in. Drop bags are good to go. Made sure they were in the right place. They were super heavy, full of freaking gels all over the place. So I'll do one more layout of my bag here, make sure that my headlamp is plugged in, and go through all the final night checks and try to get some freaking sleep. So other than that, I'll catch you in the morning. All right, so we are at the start line. We're about an hour and 20 minutes out, and yeah, just getting everything ready. I wanted to get out of the hotel and try to get into the van at the start line so I could have some time to just like reflect and think and, you know, get the mentals all straight and ready for the day. And then also set up the van for a aid station because I'm actually going to be hitting the van 2 times, just because we're going to be going back and forth, like I said earlier. So back and forth. I'll be able to hit this van aid station twice during the course. I got a bag that I'm going to be hitting 6 times and another bag that I'm going to be hitting 4 times. So a lot of the same aid stations over and over again, which will be fun, and I'll be able to see a lot of people on the course. So that'd be a cool change in pace of the ultra marathons that I have been running, where a lot of times for like 20-mile stretches or like for like 10-20 miles from aid station to aid station, you're kind of running alone. So there'll be a lot of people on trail throughout the day. The weather's supposed to be pretty nice. Around, I think it's supposed to be a high of like 75. Forecast weather, like 65 in the morning forecast, and then it's supposed to get up to like 75. And it seems like the rain went away, but we will freaking see. I woke up at 4. Yeah, I woke up at 4:15. I had very strange sleep where it almost feels like you're awake the whole time, just because my body was so alert. I was getting kind of amped for this run. So I got spotty sleep for like 7.5 hours to 8 hours. So that's actually pretty good. Not bad at all. And I slept pretty good yesterday. I had a bagel and a half, some coffee, and then I put in some Sierra. I forgot the name of the bicarb, but it's like a cheaper bicarb than Morton. And I got that down 2 hours before the race. So I took that around like 5. So we'll see how that settles in the stomach. I mean, I've been testing it in long runs, and it hasn't affected me that much. I took the morning dump already, so should be good to go with that. Starting to ramble, so I'll leave it at that. Gonna be rocking the Session brand. It's a Ranger branded company. They specialize in mountain bike. They specialize in mountain bike like jerseys and stuff, but I love them for running. And then I'm going to be rocking these Adidas fucking Pro 4s, and they're going to be epic as fuck. So I ran in a couple of long runs in these, and they're super freaking comfortable. If I need to change them out, I have a little aid station in here. So I got my other shoes here, the Hoka Mach X3s, the tried and true Ultra Tempos. And then I have my cooler here with nothing really in it, but I got some Red Bulls and stuff, and then all my aid station stuff here. I'm also sitting on my crash pad, so it's just a inflatable mattress with my whoopee and a pillow. I do have my hotel until Saturday, so if everything worst comes to worst and I'm absolutely dying, I can't drive, I think it's like half a mile, not even, down the way, then I'll just crash here, because safety's first. Got to get back to the family, always safety first. So yeah, I'll crash here if I need to, and then that'll be it. So just gonna chill out, do a little bit of like semi-meditation type mental preparation, and then get this run out, get the show on the road. We're gonna get the show on the road. All right, let's go.
Give it complete hell today and get the buckle, okay? Don't fuck around, keep moving, okay? Plenty of great aid, plenty of awesome volunteers. One thing we ask, just have fun, and always remember, it's just an incredible gift to be able to do this bullshit that we do. Okay? We're going to start right here on the road. You're going to go up, make a right, and we have people there to direct you in the creeper. When you come back here, same formula back, just take the sidewalk here. Somebody might fuck it up, and that's okay. But once again, thank you so much for coming. You don't understand how important it is to this area that you return and come with your family, your friends, and visit here. It means the world to everyone in our community. So thank you, and thank you so much. and leave your heart out there. Okay?
Alright, we are 14.5 miles in, 2 hours, 2 minutes, and yeah, everything's feeling good. Trying to keep my cadence up and keep moving down this trail. I've been taking a gel about every 20 minutes and then drinking as much water as I can. Not really pushing it too much and not pushing sodium yet. So I got in quite a bit of gels and I already had 1 pee. That was pretty clear, so I can keep on keeping on with that. Increase the water intake once the sun comes out. But yeah, feeling good. But other than that, I don't know. I'll check in. But other than that, I'll check in later once things start falling apart. But let's see how long we can hold on to it. I'm keeping my heart rate around like 148, 145, so trying to keep it nice and calm. But yeah, check in later. All right, we are 31.27 miles in, 4 hours, 33 minutes, and slowing down because the sun is up and it's been raining all week, so it's super humid, and just trying to take care of myself. So pumping in as many gels as I can and water, and then I started my electrolyte tabs. So I'm taking 800 to 1,000 milligrams of sodium every hour. Trying to be litigious on that. But other than that, I think it's around like 80 degrees. So I'm gonna try to start icing and seeing if any of these aid stations have ice. If not, I gotta really moderate my effort so I don't fall into a hole. So gonna keep working down this trail and yeah, keep it moving. Let's go. So as you could tell from the opening clip, the YETI community is freaking awesome. They're like super freaking nice people. One of the most warming and fun, hype like environment for a ultra marathon race that I've ever experienced. So if you are looking for one of your first 100 milers, I strongly recommend going with a YETI race because you won't be disappointed. So the heat was really ramping up. I think at the peak of the day, it was getting up around like 85 degrees. And that wasn't really the biggest issue. It was the humidity. With that heat and the humidity, it was absolutely ridiculous. The humidity was around like 70 to 80%, and it just feels like you're like running in the sauna. So it's absolutely torturing me. So when I got around 30 miles in, I asked one of the aid stations, hey, do you guys have ice? And that aid station specifically didn't. And right away they got on the phone and they're like, hey, we're gonna call all the freaking aid stations and we're gonna make sure everybody has ice. So they went out and ran out and got ice, and I never had any issue finding ice after that. So after that aid station around 30 miles, I ran into like, I think it was around 37 to 40 miles, and they already had ice ready. I was packing that every time I hit a aid station, and I'd put the ice bandana on my neck and then I'd spray it down a little bit just so you could get that dripping cooling effect. I lowered my pace a little bit, but I was still trying to push as hard as I could in the heat, trying not to lose as much time. And this is when the nutrition of the race really started to become apparent. I think I was like floating around like 5th or 6th place, and people started dropping back. And this is a back and forth race, so you can see all the other competitors, you can see all the other runners, and people were like, you could tell the heat was really getting to them. So I made sure anytime anybody was like really sucking, I would ask them if they needed salt, or I let them know that the aid stations were stocking up with ice to make sure that they were icing properly. But man, that ice had a huge effect on how like disastrous that heat could have been. So if you guys haven't been messing with a ice bandana, strongly recommend an ice bandana, and then hydrating as much as possible. When it gets really hot too, my stomach just starts rejecting gels. So I started switching a little bit to harder foods. Like I think I was eating a couple of the bagels that I had on me, and my stomach was not happy. I did catch it sooner than I did for the Old Dominion, where I was just absolutely destroyed for basically half of that race. So I only had to visit the bush like 2 or 3 times during the peak of the heat, and then my stomach kind of like settled down a little bit. So I was trying to take in about 2 or 3 of these gels an hour, and that's around 120 grams of carbs an hour. During the heat of the day, I could usually only get in like 1 of these an hour, and when my stomach was like rejecting them, I took a couple hours off just to like let my stomach settle. I lowered the pace a little bit so I wouldn't like get to a point of no return, and just really focused on my body and trying to take care of it, trying to cool as much as possible. Okay, we are 54 miles in, 8 hours 37 minutes, and I'm kind of had a little mini explosion. The humidity is like fucking terrible, and then the heat just fried about everybody. So just kind of working through it and working my way down, still moving at a pretty good pace and trying to get going. Good work, man, good work. But kind of lowering the calories just because with the heat, my body doesn't like to take in as many calories, and I'm moving way slower. So moving way slower, heart rate's a lot lower, so I can push the calories a little bit back, a little bit. So I'm getting around like 80 grams of carbs every hour now. So that should be good, but we're gonna keep on keeping on, and we'll see what we can do. All right, let's go. Okay, so that was the last clip that I got on course because the sun started going down, and that was when I could actually start working again. And I started moving again and started picking up the pace. There was a certain point during that race where I was kind of like, I wasn't having a pity party. I was kind of having like a freaking ranger, like motivation, angry, kick open the door, breach the freaking breach, destroy everything kind of rage thing. And I just started going as fast as possible. Not sprinting, but I was really pushing it for like 5 miles right on the back end of this 100 miler, because I knew I could push it harder. And that was one of my big goals, and one of the things that I was really meditating on before the race was trust your training and trust your body. And you can push yourself a lot harder than you have been in these races, especially because it's a flat race. So if it's just pain, or if it's just like kind of uncomfortable pain, then keep pushing. And I was like dropping and this is 100% fast for me. I was like around like mile 70 or so, I was dropping like 9-minute miles, which is really fast for my fitness level. And I was just like blazing through those freaking trails. I blew through one of the aid stations, and I was kind of like running and going like I probably look like a freaking psycho, but I was going, I was like talking to myself. I was just repeating a mantra, and the single word mantra that I had was power, power, power. It's very embarrassing, but hey, it got me motivated, and I kept that kind of aggression through the whole thing. I slowed down a little bit because I realized that like I don't need to be in that emotional state. It's good to like kind of spark everything back up and get yourself out of that heat stupor. And it really knocked me out of that heat stupor. But like I was just like talking to myself, I'm like, power, 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 and just blazing through. And I heard somebody at one of the aid stations or one of the cruise stops, and they're like, oh God, is he okay? I was like, oh shit, maybe I need to calm down a little bit. So I was kind of catching a lot of people and finding a lot of people on the trail, trying to offer support like where I can. And I think I was starting to catch up with a lot of the front runners. I was around like mile 70 or mile 80, and another runner passed me, and her name's April. She's a local runner, and she just like trotted right in front of me. I was like, wow, she looked strong. Her form was good. Her foot stride was good. And she just disappeared, and she ended up winning overall. So however she paced the heat and the beginning of the race, she absolutely nailed it. I think she ended up finishing the race an hour before me, and she was passing everybody at that latter half of the race. So I think one other thing that I can learn from that is really just pacing those early miles and those heat miles a lot better, and try to ramp up as we go for those 100-milers. I wasn't even sure what place I was in. I was really only focused on taking care of myself and where I was in the field. A lot of the aid station people were saying that I was in first place, and then I was in fourth place, and then I was in second place, and then I was in sixth place. So I didn't even care about it. I really just run these races to race myself, and really focused on trying to bring out as much as myself on the trail as much as possible, because what I really want to do is all these months and months of training, I want it to show up in the races, and I want to be able to put everything I have, and I want to put everything that I built up out on the trail, and I don't want to leave anything behind. And I'll probably talk about that a little bit in the outro, but I think I could scrape out a little bit more.
Okay, so we are done and dusted. Holy shit, I got fucking destroyed. My feet are absolutely murdered. Like, I wore those Adidas Pros, and I thought they were like super comfortable, and they felt super comfortable. And then I took off my shoes, and man, it's like my feet got shedded. So yeah, gonna have to rethink those shoes. I ended up getting first male finisher. I think I got like third overall, so that was fucking insane. And we finally did it. We got a sub 20-hour 100-miler, and it ended up being like 16:50 or 48 or something. I'll have to get the official time later, but that was absolutely fucking awesome. I melted during the day. It got up to like 80, 85, and it was humid as shit, and I fucking melted. But like once the sun went down, I started working again, and for the last like 20 miles, I was really pushing it. So I was super excited about the finish, and the race overall felt pretty good. I'm gonna have to figure out, or I don't think I have to figure out anything. I just have to keep going with the fatigue resistant stuff, because I could tell it was really working. Like I have to understand my body a little bit more about how hard I can actually push it, because you know, at a certain point my heart rate like drops dramatically, and then I don't want to push it as hard, but I know that I have the fitness, and I really proved it to myself today that I could actually push it when I'm not feeling that well. So you know, gonna have to work on that. My brain is a little crazy right now just because of all the adrenaline. I wasn't able to get any clips because I was really freaking pushing it after like mile 40. I was like dying for a little bit, and then I was really pushing it for like the last like 30 miles or so. So
yep, so there we go, there we have it. That was the YETI 100. I ended up getting first male finisher. I got my little trophy here. First male finisher trophy. I wasn't even sure what place that I freaking finished in when I crossed the finish line, but I let out like a little like "Rah!" because I was so excited that I was able to push myself that hard at the end. The finish time ended up being 16:44, which is like way more than I expected, or way faster than I expected. I was really aiming for a sub 20-hour ultra marathon, and I destroyed that goal, which is freaking awesome. I'm super motivated, and I have been super motivated since that run. That motivation really carried into my training after. I took a little of an off season. I think I took like a month or like a month and a half. Some of that was because I got sick for quite a while, but I took a little bit of time off and right back into training. So I'm hitting about 80 to 90 miles again, and probably going to be pushing it up to around 100 miles leading into the C&O Canal 100 miler. But yeah, man, that race was freaking awesome. Once again, thank you so much to all the volunteers, all the other racers. You guys absolutely freaking crushed it. Once again, the overall winner, April, she is an absolute monster. I want to try to figure out how to race how she raced it, just like so even kill and just destroyed at that half end. Then just destroy at that like later half or that back half of an ultra marathon. It's just really cool to see. But I'm really focusing on fatigue resistance now and speed. So what I really learned in this ultra marathon is I can dig a little bit deeper, and I can put in a really good amount of training, and it's really going to show up in these 100 milers. But other than that, one thing that really locked into my psyche or like my soul is loving the grind. And if you don't love the grind, then the goal doesn't freaking matter. Like, you could get to the top of the mountain and the view is freaking awesome, but if there's dead bodies and crying and death and destruction and every single day you just absolutely hate going up to that point, why does it freaking matter? You have to enjoy the grind up to the mountains, so then you can continue going on to the next mission, onto the next mission. So always try to find something that you're passionate about. It may not be ultra marathon, and you're not gonna like it every day. You know, some of these runs freaking suck. Sometimes I didn't want to run at all. Sometimes I didn't want to do it, but I knew I was more in love with the grind than anything else, than even the race itself, because I like that little intermittent like chipping away and just working on this big goal. But what I really care about is the working, the chipping away. And that's exactly how you become an average savage. Find something that you can be passionate about, find something that you can find love in the grind, and chip away, become an average savage. Let's go and let's fucking get it.